Hi everybody and welcome back to Base Camp. In the next few sessions we're going to be looking into the book of Job, taking it apart chapter by chapter. The first thing that you want to look at when you're looking at Job, there's some debate among scholars over whether this is a true story or whether this is just an allegory. So there are certain places that are kind of more story-like, that are there to stating that this may have very well have been a story that was just told to make a point. So let's dive into chapter 1. Job chapter 1. There was once a man named Job who lived in the land of Uz. He was blameless, a man of complete integrity. He feared God and stayed away from evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 5 teams of oxen, and 500 female donkeys. He also had many servants. He was, in fact, the richest person in the entire area. Job's sons would take turns preparing feasts in their homes, and they would also invite their 3 sisters to celebrate with them. When these celebrations ended, sometimes after several days, Job would purify his children. He would get up early in the morning and offer a burnt offering for each of them. For Job said to himself, "Perhaps my children have sinned and have cursed God in their hearts." This was Job's regular practice. And that's Job chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. So this is basically setting the stage. Job in his time was very, very, very wealthy. He was the equivalent of being a millionaire, if not a billionaire. But yet he had integrity and he walked right before God. So this was a guy who was not only very wealthy and God had blessed him in that area, but he did right. So this is basically setting the stage. So we'll pick it up in verse 6. One day the members of the heavenly courts came to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser, Satan, came with them. "Where have you come from?" the Lord asked Satan. Satan answered, "The Lord, I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on." Then the Lord asked Satan, "Have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and always stays away from evil." Satan replied to the Lord, "Yes, but Job has good reason to fear God. You have always put a wall of protection around him and his home and his property. You have made him prosper in everything he does. Look how rich he is. But reach out and take away everything he has, and she will surely curse you to your face." "All right, you may test him," the Lord said to Satan. "Do whatever you want with everything he possesses, but do not harm him physically." So Satan left the presence of the Lord. And that's verses 6 through 12. This is why many scholars believe that this might have actually been a story that was just told to make the point. Does this conversation in the heavens really happen? I don't know. I have my doubts. But it also sets the stage that that Job is about to be tested, and hints at what's about to fall to him. That Satan and God were basically making a bet, and God's almost egging Satan on to an extent. I don't think that really happened. I think it was more of a story to make a point, but let's look at what happens for there. Picking up at verse 13. One day, when Job's sons and daughters were feasting at the oldest brother's house, a messenger arrived at Job's home with this news: "Your oxen were plowing with the donkeys feeding beside them when the Sabeans raided us. They stole all the animals and killed all the farm hands. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news: "The fire of God has fallen from the heavens and burnt up your sheep and all the shepherds. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, a third messenger arrived with this news: "3 bands of Chaldeans, raiders, have stolen your camels and killed your servants. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news: "Your sons and daughters were feasting in their oldest brother's home. Suddenly a powerful wind swept in from the wilderness and hit the house on all sides. The house collapsed, and all your children are dead. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." And that's Job chapter 1, verses 13 through 19. So this is what became of that conversation. Job literally lost pretty much everything he possessed it in what would look to be one day. And that's a tremendous loss by any standard. So he's lost literally everything he has, including his children, which would be very important, especially in this culture. Pick it up in verse 20. Job stood up and tore his robes in grief. Then he shaved his head, and he fell to the ground to worship. He said, "I came naked from my mother's womb, and I will return when I leave. The Lord gave me what I had, and the Lord has taken it away. Praised the name of the Lord." In all this, Job did not sin by blaming God. And that's verses 20 through 22. So even in all this, so literally in all of this, Job losing everything that he has to his name, he still praises God and acknowledges that he came into this world with nothing, and he will leave with nothing. I mean, you don't see a U-Haul behind a hearse, ever. So in this, he kept his integrity. He didn't blame God. And you know, a lot of times in life, when the first bad thing happens, you know, we can cope. Again, Job did nothing wrong to deserve this. It just kind of happened. So next time when we look at chapter 2, we will be looking at when the heavenly council meets again in this story, and then what pertains to that, and how God is going to allow Satan to test Job even further. So we'll see you next time, and God bless.